Today's lesson, we're going to be learning to change percents to fractions and decimals and back and forth between the three things. Whoops. I want to start out by doing a little review with percent to decimal. And this is just a trick that I've done since I was a kid, or I wish somebody had shown me when I was a kid. We all know that a percent, we know off the top of our head that 50% is the same as saying with money, like 50% of a dollar is 0.50. And so what I would do is I would draw that on the top of my paper. It's almost like a little cheat sheet, but you're not cheating because it's in your head. Then what I would do is I would think, now wait a minute, my decimal in 50% is officially right here. So to go from this percent to a decimal, I've moved it twice to the left to get from here to here. And to go from here to here, I've moved it twice to the right. It is up to you. If you wanted to, I've probably kind of written it backwards. So if we wrote it the other way, from decimal to percent, if you wrote 0.50 and you're going to 50%, that does kind of help show it a little easier that you're trying to go twice to the right or twice to the left. D to P. Now, that just kind of helps my brain keep the two straight. Now, going into notes, it says we're going to do fractions and decimals as percents, or we're going to be doing percent of a number. Now, starting out, when you write each fraction or decimal as a percent, if it is given to you as a fraction, you are going to have to divide to get the decimal first, or at least to me that's the easiest way to do them. So, in my calculator, I'm going to type 6 divided by 25 equals, because we know that the fraction bar means division. So 6 divided by 25 equals, and there's your decimal, 0.24. Now, they want your final answer on this part to be a percent. So, to move a decimal to a percent, if I look up here, I changed my decimal to a percent. I moved it twice to the right and added the percent sign. Okay? Twice to the right and add a percent sign. That is the final percent is what it equals. Okay? It's also the same as taking 0.24, and if you took 0.24 and you multiplied it times 100, that's what that means. It's 24%. It's the same thing. Okay, so on this one, they gave us a decimal and we're trying to get to a percent. So I want you to look. How do you get from a decimal to a percent? Move it twice to the right, because we just did that. Listen, we just changed this decimal to that percent. So if I move it twice to the right, it would be 340.2%.
No,
okay.
They're trying to make decimal from a...
Listen, it's fine. Listen. It's okay if I'm recording. Listen. Look right here. To change a decimal, we know that 50 cents is the same as 50% of a dollar. So to get from here to here, I moved it twice to the right. Do you see that? Okay. So down here, if I have a decimal and I'm trying to get to a percent, then I'm going to move it twice to the right to get the percent sign. Does that make sense? Okay, just ignore it. Now, going on to the next section. Is everybody good on that section?
Yes.
Okay, go into the next section. Write the number in two other forms. So what that means is there are three ways to write the same number. If they give you the fraction, you need the decimal and the percent. If they give you the decimal, they need the percent and the fraction. We need to be able to go between all three number styles. Okay? Now, 9/24. I know to get the decimal, I can do 9 divided by 24. Because that fraction bar means change it to a decimal, basically. So what I'm going to do, using my calculator, 9 divided by 24, and I get 0.375. Now, that is the actual decimal. Now, I need to also get the other thing. They wanted us to get the percent. So, to change a decimal to a percent, bounce it twice to the right, giving me 37.5%. Okay. You should be able to go back and forth between all kinds of decimals, fractions, and percents. You good on that one? Okay, look, to change this decimal to that percent, you're multiplying times 100, or you're bouncing it twice to the right. I'm doing the same thing here. If it's a decimal, if I move it twice to the right, I get a percent. The reason it's twice is because of the number 100. The number 100 has 2 zeros. Okay, yes?
So, the reason that sometimes because you bounce it back twice, right? You bounce this goes back, as you point back twice.
Like, are you talking about for this one?
Sounds about 30%.
Okay, so to get from the decimal to a percent, you're going to bounce it twice to the right. Okay? And it's always twice. Either twice to the left, twice to the right. But going from decimal to percent, it's to the right.
So, on them four, you would go 4 twice?
Like, okay, wait a minute. Number 4 is 0.56 or 56 hundredths. If you bounced it twice to the right, you would have what? 56%. That is right. Now, what does that mean when we need the fraction also? 56% means 56 out of 100. Now, to simplify that, you can either simplify the good old-fashioned way with your brain, or you could use the ABC button. I personally do it both ways, but I do 56. If I hit the ABC 100, it's going to give me the simplest form of that fraction, 14/25. Okay? On fractions, you have to do the simplest form. Okay? And I'll try to give you a hint tomorrow. So listen. On number 4, 56% is one of the answers, and then that is the other answer. Okay?
So, you always have to simplify, right?
You have to simplify fractions always. If it is a fractional answer, you want to simplify. Okay? Now, going to the last part on this. This is where we talked yesterday a little bit about taxes and tips and things. This being like an 8%. 8% of 22. It is a chunk of 22. 8% would be almost like a tax rate. It's kind of a small amount. So, what I would do, you have 2 different ways you can do this. The good old-fashioned way is, I used to take my percent, I would change it to a decimal, and then we've already learned of means multiply, and using my calculator, I would just type in 0.08 times 22, and that is the number they're looking for, 1.76. Because 1.76 is 8% of 22. It is a very small percentage of 22. Okay? Now, the other way to do it is to use your calculator percent key. It's kind of up to you on either way. To do it that way, I'm going to try to show both. Maybe that'll help. you would hit 8%. I would hit 8. I have to hit the second key and the percent sign. Okay. Then I would hit of means multiply. 22 equals, and I get the same answer. Now, when doing this, if you're hitting percent, it is in the light blue color, so you got to hit the second function first. I also need you to see that the multiplication sign, looks like a star or a snowflake. That is one thing about this. Like, you can do it either way. You get the same answer. Okay, so I'm going to try number 6 now. 315% of 25. Think about it. What is 100% of 25? 25. So if they're looking for 300%, it's more than the actual 25, isn't it? Okay, so it's going to be a weird number. So watch. 315. I'm going to hit my second function in the percent key. Second function, and then that percent key is the parenthesis bar down there. I'm going to hit times 25 equals, and there it is, 78.75. And think about it. 78 is more than 25, but that's because 100% would be 25. Yes. Yes. If you bounced it over twice and you did 3.15 times 25, you will still get the same answer. So it's 78.75. Okay, doing the last two. Here we go. 87% of 26. 87% times 26 equals 22.62. And doing the last one here, 0.2%. You can do decimals, 0.2% times 1,150 equals 2.3. Now, before you think your day is over with, please look at the other sheet I gave you. I'm going to try to give you a hint about it. Okay? Please look at this sheet. Now, on this sheet, look at the side that says writing fractions as decimals as percents. And it has this 7/20ths. Right here. Do you see the 7/20ths? Shh. I need you to listen. I need you to honestly probably get rid of this example. I don't love it. And I want you to think about it this way. If it's 3/50ths, this is the way I would do it. I would do 3 divided by 50 equals, and I would use my calculator for 3 divided by 50 equals, and I got 0.06. Now, the key is they want a percent. So if I bounce it twice to the right, I get 6%. Now, we have notes on it. We just took notes on that, but there's a hint on how to do it. If you put what? It's not 60, though. It's 6. That's the weird part. Only twice. If you'd done 60, it'd be 3 times you moved it. On the back, please flip it over. And on the back, please, I do not love this example. If I was you, I would do the way we did it on our notes. Either do the calculator, 55% of 600, or do 0.55 times 600. But you have exact notes on how to do this. 330. Now, on the last couple questions, I do not want to see any blank. Try them. Try them. Now, thank you, and finish front and back of this for homework.